Good morning, everybody. Hubby here with Just About Anything Garage, and this is the start of video part 3 of the vet, where it is start the engine and roll this sucker around on the ground or bust. All right, it's September 17th, beautiful day. Well, cloudy, but it's supposed to be a nice day here in Agawam, Massachusetts. And I thought we'd start off just by a little quick review here. Pardon my hand as I get some light for you of where we're at and some of the things that we've done since we recorded the other video part 2. And of course, you know, we've already gotten the backup light sensor already done. I'll show you in a minute what we're working on for the neutral safety switch we've gotten in here, and we've gotten all the wires connected up here and tied up for the thing. For the starter, I need to go ahead and cut this a little bit shorter. This is the activation line for the starter, and go ahead and attach that. But what I had to do first was get some nuts for it because I lost the nut that was on that. So the other thing that we've done is that we've drained and we've filled this up. It's now been filled. Needs a little bit more, so we're going to get some more. We put 85W90 in it, which is what it's called for. We're still waiting on the part here, the little drive pin that goes in here that connects to this and drives the right angle shaft, but we'll be ready. That should be coming really soon. Otherwise, everything is together with the exception of the stuff up in the cockpit. We still need to look at what we're doing there. The other thing we did here, and if you're watching the behind the scenes, you'll see a little bit there. We've covered a little bit of this. We got the tire holder down, was in the way. We wanted to come up and check the tank. This was disconnected. It's the vent tube. We've gone ahead and pushed that back up there, so hopefully that, I think you can see it up there, it'll stay connected. If not, we may have to do something there. It's a plastic tank, and it looks to be in good shape. Hard to tell if there's any gas in it, I'm not sure, but once we get the fill pump going, or we'll put a clickety-clack on it and get it out. We'll have to play a little bit with some of the lights here and that stuff. But this is, you know, this is all surface rust, and it's got Texas dirt on it. It's got caliche dirt. So when you clean it up, it looks like this. We still got some remnants of the dirt that is on it. You can see it's pulled in here. We'll do another cleaning on this. We're going to clean these up, and we'll probably squirt it with some paint on the middle parts to make sure that they stay whole. We're prepping also. I have a pair of higher deeper aluminum cast valve covers that we're going to clean up here, and we're going to reshoot Chevy orange, and then we're going to use 2 screw-ins here. One, both have vents on it. One will just be a straight vent, one will have a tube on it, so that we can make sure we have positive crankcase ventilation. But we're going to clean it up. We got some Chevy orange for that, and we'll go ahead and shoot those and get them clean. So we got some nice Chevy orange caps on that. Okay, so that's where we are to start. We're found a couple of brackets. I'll show you those once we put this down here in the next segment, to get this going. And we're gonna order some parts. We need a water pump, we need a power steering pump. We're gonna make sure we have the right brackets and pulleys for this. I do believe that I have the correct drive pulley here. I'll show you. This one right here should be the correct drive pulley for the car. I believe this is the correct power steering pulley, to be honest with you. So we'll check that out. Or water pump pulley, I'm not sure which. They're pretty similar. The basic thing is we need to get all the belts lined up on the harmonic balancer down from the crank snout. I also have this bracket, which I haven't been able to locate yet where it goes. I'm pretty sure it is part of it. We'll have to figure out where that is and what we're doing. And there's another, I did have, I believe, a alternator, lower alternator bracket that I have hooked up, and I popped the alternator on just to check it out. So we'll go ahead here in the next segment, and we'll show you that type of stuff. I just got to do some stuff to get it ready to come on down so I can show you that. It's easier to do it with 2 hands, and we'll go from there. All right, so stay tuned and we'll be right back where we got this all set up and ready to go for the next phase. And it's fire and run or bust, okay? So hang tight. I think this is going to be a fun one. All right, so we're back, and let's show you a couple more things that we've done here to get this thing ready. This assembly right here that we've got together is the neutral safety arrangement that I've got set up for here. And it's going to be on a manual. It's not going to be automatic control, because as I'm looking at the new shifter here and seeing how we might be able to do detection of neutral isn't going to really be easy. Now, I'll continue to think about it a little bit, but in the meantime, seeing how we don't want that holding this up, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this. So here's basically what this is. I went and I bought an on-off momentary switch right here. It'll light up when it's on so that we know that it's on. And I've had this relay here. So what I've done is I've hooked it to the relay. And what we're going to do is down here in the center console, we have the ashtray. I don't smoke. Not going to let people smoke in my test bed either. So what we did is we popped out the cigarette lighter and I epoxied in using JB Weld just a little aluminum ring for the switch to fit in. So we'll put the switch in here. It'll sit in here. And then underneath, let's go ahead and put this up out of the way for right now. We'll come down here, and then what we'll do is we'll attach the relay to the back panel here. Somewhere in here. Like this. Oh, we might be able to do it right on the back of that. Stick it underneath and put it right on the back of that where the blinker assembly is. And when you turn it on, it closes the relay. This plugs directly into here. I can do that right now because I stole from the switch the neutral safety switch connection. So when you push the button on, and all we have to do is we got to pick up power and ground, right? This is the ground and green is the power. The yellow isn't used. The yellow isn't used right here. Green's the power on this. And then I put a pigtail for the common ground between the relay and the switch, because you have to get the LED light. And we have right over here, hiding underneath this, right there, you can see it, that black wire is the grounding ring that used to go onto the cigarette lighter. So we'll just connect there. So the only thing we need to do is find an ignition on power, and I have the electrical schematics, so we'll look for that. So we'll mount the switch in there. And your procedure will be, you get in the car, you make sure that it's in neutral, right? And then you go ahead and you turn on, push the button and turn on the neutral safety switch, which will enable the starter circuit. And once the starter circuit's enabled, you can go ahead and start it. Now at that point, you can turn it off, or you can turn it back on, or leave it on, what you want. I will probably turn it off, so it acts as a backup disable. So what'll happen is it'll cause it to not start unless you push the button and get it on. Now the other thing we can do, and we probably will in time here, as soon as I identify a good center switch for it, is down here where the clutch pedal is, on the brake pedal, is we can put a switch on the pedal. So when the pedal is depressed, it will enable the circuit as well. So you won't be able to start it unless you're stepping on the clutch, which is another great safety feature, and we'll add that in a little bit. But that's what we've done here. Now we've worked a little bit on the seat. We don't have the trim ring on, but we've gotten the adjusters in play here so that we can move the seat back and forth. So we're probably going to mount that up so we can get ready to get this thing going here. I need to soak this some more with penetrating lube so we can get that out of there, because we got to fix the ratchet on that. And you know, they oversewed once here. I think we can oversew again when we get it back together here. To take care of that, we still need to do the cables. We'll take care of that. That's no big deal. But that's where we're at, and what we're focusing on for this, and we got parts on order and we're just waiting for them, and as soon as they come in we'll do that. But we got lots of other stuff we can do here in this particular video. For this is getting that done. We've identified this is power on. The red one here goes into the HEI distributor to power it. The brown one here goes into the distributor for the tack pickup. And I'm missing for the oil pressure sensor. I can't find the line for that. I'm gonna have to dig around. I have a schematic, electrical schematic for it so we know what color that we are looking for. So we'll find that. This green one is for water. It's for the water temperature sender. So I like the way that's routed. So we may route that a little bit differently, lengthen it and route it so that we can go in there. And then we have the rest of our vacuum lines here that we'll need to connect. But we got the bracket here. This is a higher mount alternator. The alternator was with it. We're gonna we need the loop back, which comes off of the water. Once you install the water pump, you got to hit the boss for the adjustment right here to set the tension on this. And I'm gonna have to make sure. I believe that is the correct one, but we're reviewing and talking to Corvette Central and others to make sure that we get it, because you have to have the correct pulley and brackets for this. You can't use a generic set just to get it on, because of the spacing in here. You need the Corvette ones for it to fit. So that's where we currently are. Oh, we got the compressor over there. We're gonna that has the bottom bracket. I don't know if it has additional bracketry that it needs for that, but we'll figure out where that bolts on. This being a generic engine with performer intake, I don't know if it's provisioned for the AC. So what we might do in the interim, if we can't immediately get the correct bracketing and hooked up for the AC. So I'm in the Northeast, so it's not a big deal. It doesn't get, I mean, it has been getting warm lately, but not too warm. And this is going to be a performance test bed, so we know what that means, right? AC has a tendency to, excuse me, suck power out. So we may do a temporary delete. I do want to get it back together when we get it into form, and we have it in its finished format. Because remember, what we're going to do with this is we're going to start to throw, once we got it running and going, performance parts to just lift its performance, lift its performance. Probably focus on the drivetrain and the suspension first, get it so it's a rock handler, and then we're going to throw more power at the engine to see if we can't use a standard engine that can generate, I don't know, 450 horsepower out of it, so that we have a stellar. And then we'll add in the AC back in. We'll make sure it's a real comfortable car, and we'll use it as a real fun driver for doing that. And then we'll build other things for more test platforms as we go. All right, so that's where we are for this section. I will come back to you once we get a couple more things here, or we run into issues or problems that we've got solved. All right, so hang tight. All right, so we're back for an update here, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the valve cover situation set, whether I need to order something or not. So I had a couple of sets of valve covers that we're going to work with, and that I've showed you here. Now, the originals that came on this were these stamped steel chromed ones right here, okay? And I suppose they're okay, but the thing I don't like about these is they have a tendency to leak. If we have to use them, we'll use them as backups. Make sure that we get the right tie down pieces to apply pressure to it. The thing I do like about them is that they're baffled right there. Now, I have this other set. I'm going to show you this one that we started to clean up here, which is a low aluminum one that we were going to paint orange, and this one is cleaning up okay. But the problem I have is that its partner, let me show you over here, when I cleaned it up, has major pitting, major. I don't know if you can really see it there, but on the top it's really pitted. But where it's really bad is right here, right in here. Let's see if you guys can see that. It majorly pitted in there. I mean, it's in pretty bad shape. So, you know, I'll go to a degree of ugliness, but that's just a little bit too ugly for me. So what we did here is I have a set of high caps right here that we painted Chevy orange. They look okay. They got a little bit of pitting in area, but more or less they're fine. They're aluminum, they're finned, so I like that. So they have the big bosses that'll strap down. They tendency not to leak, so that's a good thing. And what we'll do is we'll put twisting caps on them. One that has a PCV valve and a connection to it so we can have positive crankcase ventilation. And the other one that will just do a breather that's twisting that we can do oil fill with. So we're going to go with those. They're coming out okay. With the Chevy orange, I got a couple, you know, trying to get down into here is doing that. It doesn't have to be perfect for me. It just needs to be good. from 20 feet they look, 10 feet or even 5 feet they look okay. Not too many runs when I painted it, a little bit here and there. As we said, what we're going for is just to make sure that we have a good set of valve covers that look decent on it. So we're going to go with that so we don't have to buy anything. When we go to turn this from a test platform into a more of a consistent driver where we're driving it around, we really want it to look pretty, or we start to work on the body and do things like that after we do the performance upgrades, because those are first, we'll go ahead and we'll do dress up on the engine. But right now we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to get her ready to go. We're trying to, like I said, get the brackets and the pulleys also, and get the front lined up, and we should be able to fire it up, and we'll be really, really, really close. What do we do underneath? Ouch. I'm gonna give myself a concussion. We got a oil filter in place with the oil, so that's all set. Everything else you've seen. I've gone upstairs into the cockpit. We're getting this ready. Let me show you before I go and do a rabbit thing again. Where are we at here? Where am I looking? Oh, back here. Right on this corner. Right here, we cleaned it off. As you can see, it's got some holes. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit that with some fiberglass. We'll just hit it with some fiberglass and some epoxy to make sure that we keep the water out of there. We've hit these with, these are for the retractors that we need to pull out. We've hit those with some juice to get those loose. And of course, I showed you up here, I believe, where we've got all that taken care of, and we'll address the antenna too. It's not a big deal, because remember, we're doing this for performance. What we want to do is we want to make this sucker into a nice heavy duty performer first, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so that's where we are right now. We'll give you some more in just a little bit and see if we can't get this thing to bark and turn the wheels. All right, so we'll be back. All right, update time, blah, 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 if I can talk, that is. And these nice ones that we got all painted and ready to go, well, we're not going to use them. And the reason we're not going to use them is, if you can see right there, there is a crack. And there is a crack on that area. And it comes all the way through, as you can see right there. So these are a no-go. So we're either going to use the chrome ones or order ones. I'm going to order orange ones, guys, that are better. Since I don't really trust those. And we'll put a set on it. They're not that much. $34, $54, depending on what you get. So, all right, so much for that. Hey, but on the bright side, I did get the retractor out on the driver's side. I was able to get the bolt to pull out, and now we're reconditioning it to see if we can use it, or we got to find a new set. We'll see what happens. Once we get that one done and we figured out what's going on, we'll go do the one on the other side and get that ready. All right, we appreciate it. We'll catch you real soon. All right, so back at the vet. Okay, we got a couple things going here. Just review real quick. We have the bracket for the alternator. We have the pulley, base pulley for the bottom. We're getting the other stuff in there. We're still trying to figure out this, right? I showed you a little while ago the cracks in the aluminum casting ones that we're going to use. So what we decided to do is go to the chrome ones, and we wanted to have them orange, so we're going to paint them orange. So we started off by cleaning up, scratch them up, hit them with gray paint, some gray primer, and they, you know, okay, looks good. But I was just trying to spray it with orange, and look what happened. It's wrinkling the minute it hit the surface. Okay, so I am not positive what happened there. Best I can say is the paint that I used is not compatible with the orange. So I don't know if they'll clean up and we can go. Yeah, what we're gonna end up doing is just ordering a new set. You can get them for less than $100 and have a nice Chevy emblem, and I want them orange to go with the black that we're doing with this. So we're doing that there. The other thing that we got done on this sucker is, let me go to the other side. We got the boot in, the boot that's supposed to fit it, and it does. It fits pretty well. And get the door open here. We've got the boot in. Go ahead and turn that on. Fits in there nice. We got to put it back in there. I've got these pulled out because I wanted to check on this, right? What that was, and what it is, it looks like a bunch of micro wires. What I think it is it's to the old radio, because this is a stereo that they mounted in here. I think that's the old stereo connection. When I look on the electrical connections, they have a connector goes in there, but nothing unusual, nothing no micro vacuum lines, no nothing like that. So I think that's a former plug that went to the old stereo when they put the new stereo in. So we're not going to worry about it unless stuff don't work. One thing I did discover, however, while I was doing this, once we got this nice little boot in, is there's no friggin' screws in the pads. I mean, there's one here, 2 on the end. I went to pull this out. That had 2 screws in it, 1 here and 1 on the side, and then this all fell out. So we got to get a trim kit, a screw kit for it, because apparently there not any screws that go in there. So we'll do that. We'll get this all back together. This is in there nice. We'll clean this up just a little bit more, plug everything back in, and we should be ready to go. The other thing we did was, as an update, is, you know, we were working on the retractors here. So we got the retractor to unspool, but it's going to cause us to get new seatbelts, because if you look, that is severely rusted and it's reduced in its size. So I'm questioning its strength, and it doesn't retract yet. It takes some significant work to get it to work. So we're just going to spend the $348 and put new seatbelts in it, because they didn't know how to pull them out and check them. So we'll go from there. I'm noticing other little things. They've obviously been through this before, and we'll improve them. Now when we do this, we're going to go ahead and we are going to pull the AC compressor off, seal the lines, and set the lines to the side, because we want this to be a test platform, right? So we don't want to suck AC pressure, and I'm only going to use it in the test. It won't be a daily driver or anything like that. It'll be a frequently user as we test performance parts and stuff, with stuff coming up on the channel. But there's no real need to put that on there. And with that, I just need to get the water pump and the correct pulley for the water pump, and then I think we can get this thing together and get going. The distributor is all together. We got remaining parts I needed for my Mallory. It was missing the ground clip in here, and it was missing the carbon button in the washer. I got to get some screws for it, because I can't find the screws in order to tie this down and make sure. But everything's together now. It's looking good. We'll go ahead and we'll get that over in here. We'll get some new covers. We'll slam some new covers on that. The only thing I can't find is there's supposed to be a dark blue line that hooks to the oil pressure gauge that's got to go in there. That's just a plug to mark where it is. And the oil pressure, it's supposed to be a dark blue. This red one is for the power to the HEI, and this is the tack line. That green one that's hanging right there on that is for the water temperature sensor. So I gotta track down where the oil pressure sensor line went, because it's like done disappeared off of this thing. Anyways, that's where we're at. We'll keep going. We want to get this sucker fired, so stay tuned with us. We'll get it fired and hopefully moving around. Excuse me. And if we have to, we'll include brakes with this. We're gonna have to get a master cylinder for it, and hook that up, and then do all the bleeding and go from there. So all right, we appreciate you guys, and we'll be back with more of the story. All right, we're back, and I'm going to do a project service announcement, and please allow me a little bit of a whine. I know I've whined on this project before, but previous owners, take note, please. When you do something to your vehicles and you go to put it back, please put it back original, or at least in a way that it makes it possible for the next guy to go ahead and work on it. Right here we have the dash trim, and other than the fact that I've already said there were no friggin' trim screws in it, they also didn't have any backings on the back sides of the trim screws. So what was actually holding the pad in was the center console that was up in there, and there's no backings because they lost them, which is probably why there's no trim screws in it. So it's like, guys, if you're going to work on your vehicles, if you're not keeping them forever, do the next guy a favor. Do it right. Do it correctly. Have the common decency to try and fix it, or at least tell the people that there's a problem there so that they know about it and have to struggle with it and get frustrated for hours on end trying to fix something. Okay, so we're working on the dash. We're going to get all this big pile of junk back up to where it goes the way it's supposed to go, with the correct screws and everything in it. So yeah, anyways, thanks for letting me whine a little bit. project service announcement. Please do it correctly if you can. If you can't, get some help. I'm sure people know how to do this. All right, we'll be back with some results. Good morning. Well, we're back at it here, and we're redoing things. What I've done is intake manifolds. I pulled out the ones that I painted, the aluminum ones that are finned, that have a couple of cracks. And what I'm doing with that, because I don't want to use the one that wrinkled, because the finish, the Chevy Orange didn't come out well on it, because the primer I used was non-compatible with it. So what we're going to do here is I think I already showed you this, but we got JB Weld on these, so that and I'm heating them up so they'll dry real good. And we're going to try these and see what happens. The other thing is I want to make a correction too. So a PSA, a project service announcement again. I said that 2 of the bolts, the front bolts on the intake manifold enter the water jacket. They do not. None of the intake manifold bolts enter the water jacket, but some do enter and can have oil seep up. So just keep that in mind. I forget which ones it is, but right. You could put sealant on those so the oil doesn't drip up. We've got the distributor in. It's mostly down. I gotta bump it. It's, 90% is sitting at the top of the thing, but it's engaged with the oil pump and everything. Just need to bump it so it'll set all the way down. So it's all hooked up and ready to go, with the exception of the screws. I gotta get screws because I can't find those and get them in, but they're weird. They're like 4mm 1 pitchers, which are like, they're fine 4mm screws, but they're really, really hard to get, at least generically. So I'll have to order some of those and we'll get that wrapped up. Let's see, what else? Already complained incessantly about the trim screw stuff, but what I did was I was able to get some other screws here and get let me get some extra light. Sorry for the hand on here. I got a backing nut on it. It's the wrong color, so we'll have to take care of that. But we got it up in. We got correct screws up in here. So we got this back in place. We got this all screwed in place. And then we got the ball back on. We got this. This will have to stretch a little bit. We're going to want to push it down. So what we're going to try and do today here, and I'll update you when I get it done, is make sure everything's underneath and nice and tucked. And get the sides back on it. We'll get the back pieces back on and everything trimmed up so that the center console is taken care of. We're gonna have, like we said, have to get new seat belts for it, but we're not going to worry about it right now because we'll get it to rock and to roll, but we won't get it out on the road probably. So we'll clean this area up. I'm going to pull the other retractor off. We'll get the seat back in this. We'll get the battery wired and the battery in it, and we'll go ahead and we'll test on the engine to make sure that we have good power going and we don't have any major issues or problems going on there. All right, so there's your quick update, and we'll be back with some things when we got the valve covers on. We'll go ahead and set them. Hopefully they won't break off, they won't leak, and we'll just update you. We'll keep doing that, and if we end up having to get a set, we'll go ahead and we'll get a set. But anyways, that's where we're at, and we'll just keep creeping forward as slowly as it takes. All right, so we'll be back in just a little bit. All right, update time. We've got the console back in. It's a little bit bowed right here, so we'll see if we can't. It's pretty tight. That's supposed to be pushed back. There's something stopping it from pushing it back all the way, but it's pretty good, and I'm okay with it right at this particular point in time. I just want to get this thing rocking and rolling. We're not going to put in this, which is the tube that connects this over to this duct right here for the AC. Seems how we're going to have the AC out, and it's AC only that blows to this area. There's a direct heater down there. If not, I'll just get plenty of heat right in the cockpit. We'll worry about it when we're going to put the AC back in. But remember, we're doing this as a test bed first to get its performance base all set and everything, and then we'll come in and we'll start to clean. Like we said, we'll start to clean up all the stuff. Like there's lots of imperfections I'm finding in this. You can see back here with the trim colors, they did something back here. I don't know if this had an accident at some point and they redid things, or it had water drippage and had to fix, but things don't fit right and they're the wrong color. They did the color, so you know, if we're going to keep this from a long-term perspective, we're definitely going to have to incrementally go and find stuff for it. I'll show you some other little things. If you look down here at the bottom of the seat all comes up and the foam's coming out underneath it, right? So that needs to be touched. If you look on the back of the seat here, it's missing its little button. You can push it. It's just missing the tab. And then we have the wrong color. You know, they color it red. So this is obviously something that they got and redid. It's tight. The frame's in good shape. All the mechanicals are in pretty good shape. We're going to find out if the electricals are in good shape here shortly. But we got, you know, the transmission switched. We've got the pedals back in. We're going to get the seat back in. What I'm doing with this seat over here, if you recall, when we were talking about it, is I want the adjuster. This is the driver's seat. The adjuster's broken on it, so we're going to go ahead and fix the adjuster, and then we'll go ahead and we will pop that back in there. Last things that we need to do is battery box needs to get dropped back in for that, and those get hooked up, get the seat back in, and then, you know, then we're more or less got, we got to finish up the engine bay and we got roller going. So that's where we're at. We had, as you remember, we had, right, JB welded this. I put a little paint in here to cover those up, but they looked fine. They're going to be on the top side because this vent is going to be over on the front on this side. That one's going to be on the back, where we're going to put a PVC controlled cap over there, and we'll put an oil fill cap breather over on this side. So we'll see if it leaks. We'll see what happens. We're going to put a new water sensor in it. We got to put a thermostat in it. Like I was saying over here, this is all set. We just got to bump it a little bit so it'll drop all the way, because it's not quite in all the way. But it's seated on that oil pump shaft, so we're pretty decent there. That's the oil for the oil sender. But I got to find, like I said, I can't find there's supposed to be a dark blue wire up here that picks up that sensor and sends oil pressure stuff over to the gauge. So I'm not sure where it is. So we'll probably put this up on the stand here shortly and look underneath and see if it just fell underneath. I have one there that looks more like a brake line, but we'll check the color of it. It might be it. If it is, we'll pull it up and we'll get it positioned for the sender on that. Okay, so that's where we are. That's the update. We got the interior back in. Well, the seat back in here shortly once we put a line for the adjuster on it. And we'll be in good shape. We'll have to get new seat belts, like we were saying. The retractors are trashed on that. And we'll get things rolling. So stay tuned. We're almost there. We're so close. I want to get it there and fire the sucker up and make her move a little bit, and then chase down any of the issues we have there. But hang tight and we'll be back with some more. All right, we're back again. We're underneath the vet, obviously, because we put it up, and guess what we found? A dark blue line that is obviously the oil sensor. And what it must have been is on the original block for the engine that was in this, with the 400 turbo, there must have been a port down here by the filter that they plugged into for the oil pressure. So what we're going to do is we're going to extend that, or get it up there, because that's the port that we're going to use up there. We'll probably rig up a T on it and have one be a mechanical, so I can look under the hood and see what the pressure is while we're running it. And then the other one will hook to the correct sensor that will tee off and pump it in there. But there it is right there. Dark blue, just exactly what you want. And I was looking on this to see if it had a provision, but it doesn't. This is just, it doesn't have the same thing. Of course it isn't. This is a replace, you know, a Mr. Master Engine Craft, whatever engine that somebody got to replace the one that they blew up in this, that went with it, that they never finished. And then we, you know, used my 73 transmission for that, to get that in there. So that's what we're looking at. But there it is. So we got everything. We got it located. We'll go ahead and lengthen that baby. And I'll probably just do an insert there with an extra line and run it up and we'll get it connected to it. So there you go, we found it, and we'll have that taken care of. Toot sweet here. Okay, we'll be back in just a bit. All right, we're back at it. Beautiful Sunday here, end of September, and we have a total interior. Got the seat working, got the sliders going on it, got everything back together. I got to do some tweaking, obviously. That's got to go up a little bit higher and fit into that, but everything's back in place. I showed you the other side. The shifter works. I'll show you. We'll go ahead and get in this thing, and I got the seat set. I'm not going to shut my door though, because I already had my son come rescue me because I'm missing a handle here. I forgot, but we'll have to go through all the gauges and all that type of stuff, obviously, to make sure that everything works. But everything is in and connected. Clutch works fine, not squeaking anymore. Let me point you down. Everything works on shifter. There's first, second, third, fourth. The boot covers nicely. Reverse. Got reverse in there, so it works good. Thing works. E-brake works. Don't know if the power windows work yet, but you can see here we got this and needs to be cleaned. Ugh, dirty. But everything's in. We'll get it cleaned up. We'll get it sorted out. We still need to go through and do lights. We still need to finish up the engine here. I got stuff on order. We're just waiting for it to show up. We need the water pump. We need the power steering pump. We're going to do a delete on the AC for right now. We're going to take the AC compressor out of it because we won't be using it. Because remember, we're doing this, I said it before, as a performance platform. We're going to go through, get it going, get it cruising, make sure we do a good shakedown on it. And then we're going to start throwing performance parts at it. Suspension underneath first. See how it goes, and as it handles better, we'll throw some more goodies at the motor and take this pretty stock standard 350 and see if we can't step it up to the next level. I think what we'll eventually have for this iteration for that motor is we'll probably see if we can't find a blower for a mini one, you know, not the big 671s Whedons, but the smaller, I forget what they are, whether they 471s or 371s or something like that, to go ahead and put on this, and just so when you honk down on it, you can feel it push in the butt right back into the seat, and just make it a real fun cruiser. That's what we're shooting for. So we got the rest of those parts on orders. We'll do that. We'll clean up. I think I'm gonna have to. This is just an air cleaner that I had, this Edelbrock that I put on it to keep stuff out. I'm gonna try a low profile regular air cleaner first on this, but I'm thinking, I haven't tried it yet in terms of putting the hood on it, but this may be too tall with that Performer air gap intake on it to fit the regular hood on, because the cowl induction portion isn't that very high. I do know where there is, close to where I am, somebody who's got it's a big block hood that's got a deeper cowl that'll fit this, that we could put on it and get a little bit more cowl up on it, that we could do if we want to do that, if it won't fit. So we'll do that. The Mallory's all set up. It's down in, waiting on the lockdown for that, so we're ready to fire that. I'll put some wires on it and get it all set. And we need the brake booster, obviously. Hook that up. We'll get the brakes bled and see if they'll firm up. If they will, we'll jack it up and try it. And we still need 2 new front tires, so we'll do that. But once we got all that, there's not that much. We'll get it rolling. We'll get it cruising before the snow flies here. So stay tuned. We'll show you as we get things done on her. And then, of course, the maiden Broommm, and then the maiden cruise, running her around. All right, so stay tuned. We got some more coming. Well, hi there. We're back for an update again. You saw that we had the cockpit together. We have now put the battery terminals on. I dropped the battery. This is out of the C30, so it's not the correct side mount. But I just mounted it to the top. No fires when we fired it up. Put it together. Okay. And if I turn... Let's turn it all the way off first, because you can hear the clunk safety kicking in. We get a gen light, we get a fasten battery light, We have defrosters. The heater motor's running all the time, so we're going to have to go in there. Now, what I don't have is neutral safety. And it's probably because I picked a power point that I picked the old lighter power up, and I'm not sure when that comes on or if it comes on. So we're going to have to go back into this sucker to do that. The windows want to work. Listen and watch. Trying. Oh, I got a little tweak. They need to be cleaned. That one was doing it before, but it's not. The hazards light works once you push them, as you can see. The tack reset to 0. It was sitting at 5, which is good. For that, we do have, if I pull the lights on, I don't have any interior lights yet, including door. So we're gonna have to track that down, but we do have most of my rear markers aren't on. Hey, you were working a minute ago. What's going on here? There we go. We got lights on. I have our tested brake lights. We have those on. The markers, the rear markers don't work. Front markers are, as well as the front there. There are no headlights. The headlights aren't coming on. For that, I've verified that I have power to the distributor, so we do have that. The motor won't kick over, of course, because neutral safety, but when I put my jump switch on it too, it's not kicking either. So we're gonna have to put it up, see what's going on. Make sure that we got a good tight connection. We're not too tight somewhere, and it won't allow that. If you listen real close, you can hear that heater motor running for some reason, so we're gonna have to get in there. But I'm gonna have to go back into that center console to sorry for the pull, to go ahead, and I'll turn those lights on and we'll show you. Put the hazards on. I can't test the turn signal separately because the cam's broken here, nor can I test the windshield wiper motor because that's broken, so it has to be fixed. You see that the hazards are going here, and it blinks the markers. Come around and take a look at those. After I get caught on some stuff, you can see that those are going. It blinks those. So we have most of the lights. I don't have to. We're going to have to track this stuff down for that. But good news is it didn't go up in smoke when we hooked everything up, and most of the stuff is there. Let me see if the park, I didn't check the park and brake switch. See if that gives me a parking brake indicator. I'm not seeing one come on, so I'll have to track that down. It could be switch. It's been sitting for a while, so it could be ground gremlins. It could be just some things that just aren't hooked up. Could be bulbs that are out. So I'll have to do a lot of track down, but hey, we're making progress. Defroster works. I just turned it off, so it won't work now. So we'll see what happens here. Anyways, quick update. We'll update you with some more. We got parts coming, so we're trying to get that set up so we can at least fire and make her bark and see if she'll move forward and back. I did verify I don't have any reverse light for some reason. I don't understand why. We're going to put it up, and we'll make sure that the switch is engaging and that everything's working. So we'll be back to you as soon as we get some things cranking here. All right, wanted to update you. Hang tight. Okay, so we're doing some troubleshooting here. And of course, I got the vet up in the air because I need to get underneath it. Just trying to jump start the starter because it wasn't coming from the top with my remote. I connected, it didn't go, and I went underneath and it still wouldn't go. So what we're gonna do here is I climbed this step ladder, is we're going to go ahead and, while it's up high, get the vet battery disconnected, the one that we just got hooked up. While we're up in the air here, on high, viewed from the top, looking down. We're gonna go in here and, oh, there it is. Looking for that wrench. We're gonna go ahead and pull the battery off. Disconnect it so I can drop the starter. I'm going to take the starter off so I can bench spin it, make sure that I didn't put a bad starter. It was a brand new friggin' starter, so it better not be. It may just be, maybe it's misaligned and it's tweaking or whatever. But we're going to go ahead and get this off. Both power and negative. You might be thinking, why didn't you put it down and take it out? Well, we get up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Right, so we'll just climb up on a ladder, get to the door, pull the power cables off like that. No big deal. Push this one down so it won't touch anything. Okay. Take the tools out while I'm up here, because no use leaving tools up high. And we'll go ahead and work our way down. Get underneath. Take off the power. Drop that out. And see what happens. Where's the tools? Alright. Do 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 do. Jeopardy song. For those of you who are too young to know. All right, so what we're gonna do here is come over here and I'll pop these out. I have to cut. You know, I got this all nice and neat, right? And so, see if I can get up in here and get those off, pop them off, and then drop it down, and we'll bench test it and see what's happening there. So let me go do that, and we'll be right back and show you, see if it spins, see if we put a bad one on or we got a good one. Okay, we're back for an update. Starter, just fine. User, stupid. You're never going to engage the solenoid on it if you connect the signal wire to the R terminal versus the S terminal. All right, so we're going to get that fixed. We're going to go ahead and put that back up. I'm also going to take out the 1/16 shim because we don't know if we really need it. We'll put it in and we'll see how it engages. And since we got the lift, it's not hard to take and put a shim in there if we have to do that. So I don't want to shim it down too far to begin with and have it be cranking. So we'll put it in there and we'll hook it up correctly this time and see where we get. I'll be back. All right, so we're back in the cockpit, and we got the starter hooked up correctly, power back in, battery back connected. Down here, what I've done is I pulled the side cover off. I was able to access, this is the neutral safety switch going back. I made a little jumper for it, right? Because what was supposed to happen is I put this switch in here, and go ahead and you push it, turns it on, it closes a relay, it then closes the switch to say that you're in neutral. The problem that I'm running into is that, and I'll crawl underneath the stupid thing and access the let me turn the light on for you. I'll access the fuse panel, which is of course down under there, tucked up into the corner of the car. Because what I did is I used, this is where the cigarette lighter used to be, I pulled it out and I used the power that supplies the cigarette lighter. But I'm willing to bet you that something happened and it blew a fuse. So I'm going to have to go dig in and put a fuse in there. Or I can, because this one is this is the defroster that goes to the back. It is switch controlled, the key's off, key controlled. So turn the key back on, you can see things come back on. Turn that on, it turns on the rear defroster, so I can pick up power there if I have to. This, you would then push on it, telling it it's in neutral, it would close it. But with the jumper in there, we'll push the clutch just to be the same. We do get that. Now, it's not sounding terribly good because I'm going to go ahead and put it back up and put the shim back in it and see if we can't get it more better aligned, because obviously it's rubbing a little bit and it's brand new and everything's tight. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that. We'll get it shimmed up a little bit. We'll try it. If that doesn't do it, we'll shim it a little bit more. Put that 1/16 shim back in there. So let me go do that. Put her back up, and we'll go get her reshimmed, because I took it out because I'm stupid. Figured we probably wouldn't need it, and probably do, because I do not like the sound of that starter as it turns on that. It's probably rubbing a little bit. So we'll go ahead and we'll shim it up. We'll see what we get, and we'll be back. All right, we're back. We got the starter shim switched out. I put a 1/32, half the one that was in there. Sounds a lot better. We also found that when I checked the fuse box, the fuse was popped up from the one that supplies the lighter. What I bet happened is it shorted and he popped it out because he kept blowing circuits or something like that. It goes to the lighter and the clock. Now the clock still doesn't work, but the lighter does. And how you can tell is this is our little button we installed for our crank disable. Right here, neutral safety. See, it's on blue, telling you that it's ready to go, and the other one where you're not ready to go. So, and I'll show you by cranking. We currently have it off, and hit the crank, nada. Hit the button, tell it it's in neutral, and it's cranking. And what you hear there is a starter. It's not grinding, it's just running free. It's aligned pretty well, flips that motor right over. So next step here is to go ahead and I'm gonna find top dead center. We're gonna line everything. We're gonna get the timing set up on it and get everything kosher. So we should be able to at least fire it and see if it'll bark here real shortly. Just waiting on wires to come and spark plugs so that we can get that cinched down and ready to go. So hang tight. We'll be ready to fly. Good morning. So we're back at it, and we got something we're going to show you here. I have a Coates 990, and we're trying to pull this old tire here from the vet that was flat up in front, and we're going to put on a it's a trailer tire actually that I have for that. I got this cheap. It was not expensive. It works well, but the thing you got to be careful with when you're changing tires with an old style arm like this is under a lot of pressure, so when it releases, it can have a snapping force. So have a tendency to help it a lot, just because it's dangerous. Get behind it, and it does. It functions actually well, but the problem that you have is the old crusty tires here. They get hard to get. They don't get malleable, so you can have a hard time with it. Trying to get things up over the edge, and if you can get the back edge of it up a little bit, it'll have an easier time, which is sometimes easier said than done. Get in there and get the back to tie up a little bit. Get it to, sometimes get it to release. Help it a little bit. Get down at a more oblique angle here. Yeah, see, they get less flexible here, so they don't want to release on the back sides so that they'll pump up. So I'll be working on this for probably an hour to get this stupid tire off. So we'll come back and we'll show you if anything gets interesting, if I break my arm or something like that. So hang on tight, guys. Just wanted to give you a little peek of what we were doing today, and we'll be back as we see if we can't get this sucker to get off. Alright, so we're back and we got the top bead and rim to release, okay? And so what I did is I got it behind here. I put my bigger bar, this one, this big gray one, behind it, stretch it a little bit, and then release the pressure. It would slide around a little bit more. Stretch it, slide it, stretch, and then finally it got, and it popped it. Now, when you're doing the bead, when you're doing the rims underneath, and it's the same for when you're putting it on, what you want to do is, you want to pull this into the center, right? So it gives you as much space as you can to pull that up and then get that underneath. For the top one to stretch, and generally, sorry about that, showing you the floor, the top bead will stretch better. So let me go ahead and set this up, and we'll see if it'll go for us on camera. If not, it may take two hands, and since I don't want to show you me possibly breaking my arm, because that would be violence on camera, if we get into trouble, we'll go ahead and stop and do it off camera. So pull it. Okay, so up, about to the center. Pull it up here. Gotta get it down in there first. Line it up. There we go. Get up. That. Around. Now let's see if this will slide any easier for us. Generally they do. Come on. Come on. As usual. Come on. Pop up there. Okay. Let's see if we can stretch it and release it a little bit. Like we did the other one. Get behind there. Oops, see, we popped it off. And we gotta start over again because okay. Bring it around. There we go. Here we go. Okay, come on, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Come on. Keep going. This side is being a pain because it's digging deep in. So you can get the back side to release a little. So give it a little bit more elasticity here. Being difficult. You're being difficult. And it usually is on this type of machine. Alright. Apparently I'm going to have my full attentions on this, so let me go rework it. And we'll come back. See if we can't show you a tire removed off of this rim. Alright, so went to the back side here. And we got to make sure that the tire's up, up, up. I don't know if it's gonna pop, but it's doing better. So let's see what we get. Come on. Come on. Oh no. It's being a pain. Come on. Let's get the big bar behind it. See if we can't stretch it some. Stretch and release, stretch and release. Oh, popped it off. Come on. Oh, it popped off again. All right. Looks like this is going to take a while. So we'll be back. There we go. Hit off. So what we had to do is behind this, as this is spinning this way, it's coming around this way. Let me step on it. I'll show you. So it's coming around this way, right? Get behind it and lift it a little bit so you create some slack for it and it pops off. So I do it so infrequently. I forget these little ticks and trips and ticks. So PSA, project service announcement. Once you get it started, once you get it past like a quarter of the rim, it'll go right around and pop off. But put some pull up here. I was pulling up in front of it first to get it to move, and then once I had sufficient space over on the backside, I pulled up on here and it went, popped it right off. So we have it off. Now comes the fun part of putting the other one on, but we're going to stop and clean this up a little bit first. So we'll be back when we get that other tire on. So a little show. Okay, so much for trying to save some money. That was a trailer tire. That was a fail. I took it off. It wasn't going to go on, and as we're working with it, we tore the bead on the back of the tire. Anyways, so we're going to order a tire. These are trailer tires that were on my trailer that I had. You can see right here, I tore it. So, not going to fit. We'll order ones that are supposed to go on there, and we'll get one on there, or I'll go find a spare, Corvette spare somewhere, get that and put that on so that we can roll it around, because that's really what we're trying to do. So that was a no-go, but next time I put some tires on, I'll show you guys. Anyways, wanted to update you where we were with that. So next steps. All right, so since how we weren't able to change the tire, we got a new tire on order. When it comes in, that one will fit. We'll be able to get it on. The reason the other one wouldn't go on is it's really a trailer tire that was trying to fit on the rim, but that's an 8-inch rim, and it originally had a 240p 245 60R15 on it, so the aspect ratio and the tread width was much different than the other one, and you just don't have the stretchability unless you do that for the size of the tire for the rim. I have those tires on and off on the trailer rims all day long. It's not going to go on that. I was hoping maybe I could get it so I'd have a little spare to lift it, but it's not going to go ahead and do that. So we got them on order. They're going to be coming in. We're going to change all 4. Might as well just get it all done and get new tires on it. In the meantime, since how we have a bare wheel here, and I do have the old wheels and tires, they're flat, but it'll hold there long enough to roll around. We can do that with. We were looking at the discs, and although they're rusty, although they're dirty, we got to get them clean. They're pretty good shape. They're both the front and the back. When you feel, and there's no ridges or anything. There's just some surface rust on it. When you go ahead and you look at the caliper on the back here, but we got plenty of pad on it here, and when we look at the hose is more or less still flexible, so we're in good shape in terms of, as long as the metal lines here, which are encrusted in Texas caliche dirt, haven't rusted out. When we go ahead and we put the new master on and we pump it up, we should be good to go. You can just hear the regular sound as you turn it, where it's just scraping a little bit on the pads, so they ought to clean up once we start going. Doing the lift test on this, all the ball joints seem to be tight and in good shape. So that's where we stand with that. I think we're in good shape there. We still need to track down some lighting issues in the cockpit, And I need to go in because, and pull that console a little bit more apart. I hate that because it went together hard. Because the blower motor for the heater is on and it's staying on. It won't go off when you put it to off. So we need to wiggle the switches, check and see what's going on there. But we'll go ahead and we can do that. We've got the neutral safety working the way that we want to have it work, so we can push the button and turn it on when we know it's a neutral, or turn it off. Acts as a secondary anti-theft device for it. And we got the rest of the parts coming in, so that we can go ahead and get this set up. We're doing the 2 orders. First order's coming in will be the upper stuff to allow us, like the bracket for the throttle cable, for the plug wires, the tie down for the distributor, the caps for the valve covers. We have a new thermostat housing coming in. That one's just takes it at the wrong angle, so we ordered the original one, and we're going to move the sensor, the water temperature sensor, into the housing because it has a provision for that, because the hose has got to come off this way to connect with the radiator, so it might be in the way for that. Once we've got that, we've got some oil in it. It still needs some more. I've got the right dipstick coming for it so that we can make sure that we get an accurate oil reading. We'll put a little bit more in there, and then we'll go ahead and we'll plumb a oil pressure. So I have a gauge. I have a mechanical, mechanical one, not an electrical one, that we'll go ahead and we'll mount probably onto the firewall right here, just so that we have an internal gauge and we can monitor pressure, oil pressure, because the pressure sensor for the electronic inside the car is back ordered, so it'll be a couple days, and we don't want to wait for it. We'll just go ahead and we'll monitor with the mechanical that I have. And it's a tube one, and we'll run that. That way we can get this sucker at least fired up and barking. We've got plenty of hose to go ahead and route the fuel system, although I will have to get a couple filters. I want to put a pre in before the pump, since how it's a new pump, and I don't know the status of the tank in the back. And then we'll of course run one up to here, and it's electric, so we'll probably hook that up. And we'll get the other fittings in for the vacuum and get all the vacuum systems set up. We're not going to worry about the lights just right now. That's that one right there with the filter and the check valve in it. What we're probably going to do is order up a vacuum manifold. They make like 6 manifold vacuum logs that will mount somewhere, and we'll run the vacuum to that to make sure that we have plenty of vacuum. Because it's got 1, 2, 3 major, 4. I probably got 4 vacuum sources. So we'll take like maybe off of the intake, big intake one here, and we'll route that to the log, and we'll use that as others as the input to the vacuum log. I'm going to use the one coming off of the back of the carburetor to go ahead and run the vacuum for the booster for that. And we'll probably tee this one that'll run the log, and I want to go directly to PCV valve on that back canister to make sure we have positive crankcase ventilation. And we'll get to a point where we can go ahead and at least get this thing fired up, get her barked, get her timed, make sure that she's running okay. And then we'll have, when the water pump comes in and the power steering pump, we'll get that whole front end set up. And once we do that, once we get this front assembly done, once we get that hooked up, we're at least ready to go ahead and let her roll around the driveway a little bit, well, with new tires of course, and go from there. So that's the quick update. I will bring you back in as we get the stuff in there and show you where we're at, and or put it on for you, and we'll see where we go. But she's coming along, not too long now. We'll be ready. You should be able to hear her bark through those side pipes, and we'll see what happens. All right, so stay tuned. We'll be back. All right, let's update. We've got our throttle brackets came in, so we've gone ahead and we've got the throttle hooked up. Works well, doesn't catch on anything, returns. It's got full motion on it. We have our breather cap with a connection for PCV so that we can have positive crankcase ventilation. We're going to pull here, and we have over here a cap that's oil fill and vented, so we're good there. We got our tie down. I don't know if you can see it in there, but it's right in there underneath. So now we've firmed up the distributor so that we can go ahead and set timing on it when we're ready. We're still waiting on fittings for vacuum And we're going to order that vacuum block like I was talking to you about. We're also going to rig in, let's go over and take a look. Over here, I have an existing oil gauge. Fitting kit and oil gauge. I'll need a bracket for it, but it's an aqueous, so that we can go ahead and get oil pressure on this thing. We're going to put it on the inside of the cockpit, the engine compartment, so that we'll do a dual output. Once the sensor comes, it's on back order, like I was telling you. So we'll go ahead and plumb this in its place for right now, so that we can keep an eye on oil pressure within the cockpit, so that we can see it inside. We got the Mallory Pro Wire ignitions. Those are expensive, by the way, $101 for those. And while I was digging looking for springs and stuff, guess what I discovered? I have a gray set of good wires too. From CarQuest, I got a full set of spark plugs that'll work, extra rotor cap. So we'll get everything hooked up here and get the plugs in. We've got the oil fill. The correct oil fill came in along with this order. So we'll go ahead and show you right here. Oil fills right there. And so we can get some correct amount of oil in there. Push that down. And we'll get all the vacuum set up. We don't necessarily have to do this. This is vacuum to a lot of different things, mostly the headlights and stuff like that. We'll get everything together here, but we'll get this all hooked up. So we should be, hopefully, we could fire this without the water pump and this stuff, just to hear it bark and set initial timing a little bit on it, and just kind of keep an eye on the temperature with it when it's running. So we can hear it bark, see how it sounds, make sure everything fires correctly. And then when we get those coming in, we'll get that hooked up. And with new tires, we're ready to give it a test roll at that point. So a couple little things to work out. Like I was telling you, in the cockpit, just got to go through and make sure that we get, see what's going on with the power on the heater. You turn it off, it doesn't go off, it stays running. So it's probably just a switch that's bad in there, and we'll go ahead and we'll jiggle that. But just to reiterate, we got our neutral safety going, so we're in pretty good shape here. So we'll be back with the next steps coming in, so stay tuned. All right, we're back for an update, and as you can see, we got the Corvette up in the air. The reason the Corvette's up in the air is we got a couple things done, and we got oil in it, we got some stuff hooked up, we got the starter shimmed properly, and we got it cranking and turning over. But as it was turning over, it was knocking. It scared the living crap out of me. I thought, did we throw a bearing? Was the bearing already gone? It's not. If you'll notice, I have the inspection cover plate off, and the reason I have the inspection cover plate off is that the flywheel, something on the flywheel, is hitting the inspection cover right up in this area, and I'll show you why. We're going to go over and take a look at it here. It was going kutunk, 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 and it eventually cleared itself, but you can see what the problem is right here. See, this is folded back. This is supposed to be straight, just like this edge, and flat within here. When I put it on, I must have bent or something like that, and it folded over, and that's where it's hitting. It's hitting right here. You can see where it's hitting. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim off this part where it's hitting. Now when they hit it flat, we'll put the cover back in, and we'll see how that goes. And we'll show you, once we get there, how that came out. And then we'll go up top side and show you what we did there. We're still waiting on a couple parts. But once I get those parts in, we can go ahead and fire it. We still won't have our water pump. That's on the way. But once there's no reason why we can't start it and make it bark. And let her run for a little bit before she gets warmed up. So we'll show you those things in just a minute. Let me fix the problem we have here. We'll put it back together, make sure we're not clunking, and we'll go from there. Be right back. All right. Oh, hat's on backwards. Let's get it back on. Got it done. We got the plate back in place, straightened it up. That's back up, shimmed correctly, so there's no more thunking on it. let's go ahead and get it down. I'll show you what we did and show you that it's not thunking away here like it was. It was going thunk, 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 thunk every time that turned over because of the flywheel hitting the inspection cover. Let's go ahead and get these puppies down so that we can get them out of the way here. And get these babies. Thing clear? Everything's clear. All right, let's close the door. Put it up a little. Get off the locks. Release the locks. Go ahead and let her down some. Show you what we got done here. Elevator ride for the Corvette. Yes, and the front tire's off because I still haven't got the front tire on. We'll lower it just enough so that these wheels here just touch, but it's still supported by the lift. Waiting on a tire. Just watch that. Let that tire barely touch. Get up on the left. So here's what we got done. You already seen that the brackets on. Everything works fine here. Works good. We've got vacuum line run to the main one for the vacuum booster. This we're waiting for an inline PCV valve. This didn't have a PCV in it, but we're just going to put an inline, and then we're going to go ahead and we got a fitting coming. And we'll put it on the manifold to do that. That fitting will also have a secondary output, which we'll go ahead and we'll cap for right now, and then we'll put a vacuum block so we have plenty of sources. We've run a vacuum line for the distributor advance, and we got a vacuum line here that goes over to this vacuum connection, which runs the headlights and the other vacuum systems. We've disconnected the AC pump because we're not going to run AC pump initially. We pulled these over. These were cut to get off. We may be able to trim them and put them back on, but I have new ones coming. For that, we got our dipstick in, of course, brand new dipstick ready to go. And what else? Oh yeah, we put on this oil pressure gauge here. It's a tube type mechanical so that we can monitor inside, because they had to back order the oil pressure sensor for this, but we want to fire it up and see it go. But let's go ahead and let's turn it over. You'll hear the whine of the starter cranking it over, and it's not grinding. It was grinding earlier, but we got the shims in there properly, and we'll see it go. I'll show you the system. I'm going to step on the clutch. Now, you notice that the light here on this switch is off, which means that it doesn't have the neutral safety engaged, so it won't do anything when I turn it. But then if I turn this on, it'll engage it and you'll hear it. So that thing's turning right over, no grinding, no nothing. So we're in really good shape here. Where we're at, I left this open. I've got to pull the other side off because I don't know if you can hear it, but hear that whir? There's a little whir coming from underneath. For some reason, the switch here is not turning off when you put it in the off position. Neither does this one work. So they may be not connected tightly, or they're terrible connections. We'll have to pull this side panel off so that we can get into this one and get it. We don't want that running all the time. That's the rear defrost. It's working fine. The windows try to work, but they need to be adjusted. See? You need to get in there and adjust both the windows. So we're getting there. Almost there. Once we get the other parts coming in, and we've got the vacuum system set up on the motor, we'll go ahead and we'll I've got plugs, I've got wires. We're going to go ahead and find top dead center on this thing. Now that she's turning over okay, I got to get a buddy out here to pop it. We'll go into cylinder 1 and do the compression thing with the finger. We'll find out where top dead center is. We'll see where the rotor comes up on the distributor. And we'll go ahead and we'll mark that as 1 and then go around for the standard Chevy firing order 1843657 and get it all set up. We're going to use, I'm not hooking the fuel up yet because we've got it all prepped, right? I've got the hoses, old hoses off down here. The original vet motor has a return, this small line right here. See if you can see my finger. Yeah, that return line. And then the big line's the feed. So I want to make sure that the tank's okay and that we're not doing crap. So we'll use my life support system with the electric fuel pump on it. That's this little baby over here. It's a little gas tank with regular gas. I put a DeWalt battery on it. It's got electric, it's got filters and everything. So we'll just go ahead and we'll use that to do it. And then we'll go ahead and we'll pop this baby over and see if we can make her bark and run a little bit, see how the exhaust sounds, how she revs a little bit. And then when we get the water pump in and all that, we'll get it hooked up, get some liquid in it, we'll let it run, come up to temperature, time it and all that stuff. And we should be able to roll this sucker around, tire notwithstanding, of course. But we'll get that taken care of too. So that's where we are right now, and we'll come back when we're ready to fire it, because we just got little things to do. We'll show you, but we'll be all set up and ready to go to give it a pop, and we'll see what it does. All right, so hang tight. We'll be back, and we're gonna have the good stuff coming up real soon. All right, so let's do some more updating here on what we got going here. As you can see here, we've got a lot of the vacuum lines, almost all the vacuum, well, pretty much all the vacuum lines routed. So that we're all set up for that. We went over that. We've got that connected for the vacuum advance. We've got the line coming over to do the booster. We've got the line for positive crankcase ventilation. We've got the cap off here because what we're going to do now is I've got to put this up. I can't get my remote starter switch here that I made up on hooked from the top side. It's just you just can't get behind it enough. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise up the Corvette, get underneath, we're going to connect it so that I can bump it over and find bottom top dead center on the first plug. Once we got that, we know where it lines up, we can go ahead and put the plugs on, and then basically it's got oil in it everywhere, everything is tied down. We can get it to, we can go ahead and we can get it to pop because we're going to use the life support system for fuel. We'll go in there and we'll set the float levels, make sure that they're set right. We'll check that. Everything should be, this should be able to run right out of the box. So we'll see what happens there. And we'll see if we can't make the sucker pop while we got it on there. So let's go ahead and get her up in the air. Let's just do a quick check around. I always like to check around to make sure that nothing's in the way, we don't catch anything. And we'll get that, we'll find top dead center. Then I'll set plugs up, the wires. I'm going to throw an old deflated tire in the front so it'll roll, the one that'll hold air long enough. I'm going to get this out of here, get it to the right position and get it adjusted. Up she goes. That's probably good enough. I can squat a little. Okay, so what I did is we're over here. I let these droop down. We just got to get this connected because the S terminal's way back here on the, we'll get it up there right in the back of that. And it's really hard to get from the top side. So let me go and hook this up for you. We'll get her back down. We'll bump her over. I'll show you doing that. We'll see if we can't get this thing to bark today. That sounds like a plan. All right, so hang tight. We'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Moment of truth. We've got all the wires hooked up. We've got the distributor plugged. We've got everything connected. Spark plugs are gapped and in. We got the correct firing pattern for the for the Chevy, just so I remind myself. 1-843-6572. We got the life support. There's fuel in the bowls. It is spraying. So we're going to go over. We've got it off so it won't run away on us in case something happens. We're just going to see if we can't get it to pop a little bit. And if she fires, but I'll need somebody to help because I want to make sure that we have oil pressure and all that good stuff. We're going to leave the choke off for now. We'll come and open it if we get it to go. But let's put you on the stand and let's see if she'll pop off. She's got oil in her. Everything's clear. We should have a motor that will do a little popping for us. So let's find out. Hopefully good popping. Find out. Okay. Obviously we're going to charge the battery and it's cranking, but we got no pot, which could be distributors not firing, so we'll have to check that one out. No fire. We'll chase it down. We'll be back. All right. Got it popping. I'm going to show you here. She wants to be wildly advanced. I'm not seeing the oil pressure though, so we're not going to let it run very long. Let's advance it a little bit more. Sure that we're good. Might have it too advanced. We'll find out. Let's make sure we got some nice fuel in there. The problem was the battery voltage was too low to fire the HEI. So I verified it had ground and everything. Let's see if she'll pop a little bit for us. Maybe run just a tad. Okay. She's popping, she's firing. Not quite running. I like to see some oil pressure come up on that. I'm not seeing any oil pressure come up on it yet, but then again, I'm not watching it, so I may have to get somebody out here. I'm thinking that you might want some more advance on that. Let's back it off a little bit from where we had it. And let's open the choke up. I don't have the choke set up, so. We're getting enough air in there. Pull the advance up, but let's retard it a little. Let's pull it back. Advance this a little bit more. Make sure we got enough slack on that line to do that. See if she'll pop and run just a little bit better. think what we need to do here is we're going to let the battery charge. Make sure I get some oil pressure. Looks like we got a little bit of oil coming up in the line, do we? Yeah, good. So I'll have to see if we got oil pressure coming up. I'm going to reset the choke so the choke's off. That's obviously affecting us. And the other thing we'll do is I may have to go, I may pull the first plug and retime or reset cylinder 1. I mean, it's hooked up correctly, obviously it's running, but we do have some popping going on, so I'll recheck my connections for this to make sure I have the order right, and I haven't, because you know you can get one plug wire off and it'll do that. But we're close, we're real close. She actually idled there for a little bit, so let me work on a couple things and we'll see if we can't get her to run nice and normal. All right, so hang tight, we'll be right back. But hey, we made her pop. She's running, she's barking. All right, here we go, the moment we've all been waiting for. We've got it advanced, so it'll start and run reliably. We reset the bowl height just to make sure that we were good on that and not flooding. And I put the air cleaner on it because it wants to be a little bit richer. But here we go. Turn on the fuel. There we go. We don't run it too long because there's no cooling. But we did it. There she goes. She's running. She sounds really mean with those pipes too. It sounds real good. About 45, 50 pounds of oil pressure. I had somebody watching the gauge the last time I did this and fired it up. But she's going. So let's see if we can wrap her up. And the next phase is to make her roll. And what we might do is let me see where we're at with the parts, where they're coming. If they come quickly, we'll go ahead and get them on, and we'll get some cooling on this, and we'll make it so it can roll. If not, we'll sum it up on the next section here and do a little short or a real short one on making it roll. But she's real close, guys. She's real close. She's ready to rock and roll. So hang tight. We'll see where we go from here. And Broommm. All right, well, you saw her kick off. We've worked a little bit on it. We've done a couple things here. We'll walk you through, and we're going to probably wrap up this video right here, and then we'll do another one on getting her, well, with the front package laid out and getting her to actually roll. We've got the distributor set in, which originally I had set up for cylinder 1 to be here, but it was way advanced this way. So I moved everything around one, repositioned one here, and was able to pull the vacuum advance back. It wants some advance to start and run well. Can't really time it yet because we got to get everything set up and taken care of for that. But it's probably got, I don't know, 26, 28 degrees. The total timing, it may want more over time. I ran up a remote power line here with a remote activation line because I can't get my starter here and I wanted to do stuff on the outside. So I ran a remote up for that. We've got it. I don't know if I'll leave it or not, but for right now, it's really handy. Plus the fact the battery's way back there. So when you go to do timing, it doesn't help you do, and you can't do it because you can't reach it with the current length of the lines. I did pull out my timing light. Let me show that to you. I've got a electronic one that's got the adjustable advance so that you can see what it was at. I did point it at it. It looks like it's 26 to 28. You can see that I did lay it on the headers right here because we got a nice little melty spot on it. So this is all broken in, working fine. Looks good. RPM for here versus the RPM on the tack is very accurate. They're very, very similar to that. So what we'll do here is I'm going to fire it up for you. Show you that it fires straight up. It's got good oil pressure. We don't let it run very long because there's no cooling, of course, so we just let it run for a little bit. We got it on the life support system going here. The carburetor is a Holly Street Warrior carburetor. It's electric choke, so it's the 804-57S. And it runs pretty well, and it fires right up. So let's go ahead and fire it up, do a quick look at it, then we'll shut her down. We'll sum up where we are, where we're going, and we'll get this thing out to you guys. So let's go ahead and turn this on. Got to turn on the starter. Got lights and everything. Give it a pump. Oops, let's turn on the gas so that we have fuel. May have to switch that timing down. It may have slipped a little, but it runs, fires. Got about 60 pounds of oil flowing. Nice, smooth out. Let's pull on the lights and see if we get flip up headlights. Nothing flipping up. It doesn't run like it's got a vacuum leak. Let's try this one. Okay, we'll be troubleshooting that. Okay, but she's running. We got her going. And we'll go ahead and we'll finish up everything for her. And we'll bring you another one. Another one will be a little bit shorter in nature. We'll get the fuel system on her set up. We'll make sure her tank's clean, all that type of stuff. We'll get the front end package with the water pump and the power steering pump and get that all set up, and so that show you that her's rocking and rolling. We'll drive her around a little bit, and that shouldn't be too long. A heater hose is hooked up, all that kind of stuff, and get it rocking and rolling. We appreciate you guys. I want to thank you for watching this video. We'll come back at you with the other videos. Leave your comments and your questions. Do all that jazz for me. I do appreciate it. And we'll be back with you with the rocking and rolling next. Oh, one more point before I go away. I think we're going to need a new hood. I placed the hood on it and it hits. So this is a little bit high for that. So we may have to find an L88 or L82 hood for it, so it's got more depth for it. So we'll come for that. But anyways, we appreciate you guys, and we look forward to bringing another video to you. We'll catch you the next time. All right, thanks a lot. Really?